Strict liability is a principle in tort law where a person can be held responsible for the consequences of an act regardless of intent or negligence. This doctrine was established in the landmark case of Rylance versus Fletcher. In this case, the court held that a person who brings onto his land anything likely to do harm, if it escapes, must keep at their peril. If it escapes and causes damage, they are prima facie liable. The rule reflects the need to balance individual freedom of land use with protection of others from harm. Over time, the court refined this doctrine to include essential elements such as non-natural use of land, escape, the accumulation of dangerous things, and foreseeability of harm. Strict liability plays a significant role in modern contexts, such as environmental hazards, defective products, and abnormally dangerous activities.
Let's take a look at the key facts in real-life case that happened in Cranston, Rhode Island. Kristen and Peter Cuddy were at home with their newborn baby when the incident happened. Their neighbor's exotic Savannah cat, which happened to be a prohibited pet in Rhode Island, has entered the Cuddy's home through a vent and attacked their cat called Grace. This wasn't the first time the cat had entered to their home. According to the Cuddys, the Savannah cat had at least entered 3 separate occasions. On the night of the attack, the Cuddy's cat had suffered few bite wounds. The attack happened nearby their bedroom, which raised a serious concerns due to their newborn baby just few feet away. Kristen reported that she had previously informed the cat owners about the intrusion. Following the final attack, the Cuddys contacted the local authority. Although state law allows to 500 fine per day, no fine was issued to the owners due to their full cooperation with the authorities to remove the cat. In this case, 5 key issues have been arisen. The first one, whether the owner is liable or have a control of the cat. Second of all, whether the act of petting an exotic cat considered as non-natural under the law. Number 3, whether the exotic cat would likely cause harm if it escapes. Number 4, whether the escape of the exotic cat may cause harm to the people nearby. Last but not least, whether the injury or the damages that happen is foreseeable.
Good day everyone. Today I will be applying the Reynolds versus Fletcher rule in this case where the exotic cat has escaped from the owner's property. This rule has been the strict liability in the torts law. So I will be explaining the 5 main elements from this rule. The first element, where the dangerous thing must be kept or collected on the land. In this case, where the exotic cat was kept in the land of the owner's property, it is completely dangerous. It is same as the Reynolds versus Fletcher case where the water was stored in an unusual amount, which was the big amount. It later became a very big problem to the plaintiff. Applying that rule to this case, the exotic cat, which is already known as a wild cat, can cause potential harm to the owner or anyone around them. So the defendant was held liable where he kept the dangerous cat in his compartment. The second element, where the use of the land which is not natural. Here we must ask, is it natural to keep an exotic cat in our house? Of course not. None of us will rather keep an exotic cat in our house. This could be related to the case of Ricketts versus Lothian, where the non-natural use of the land had brought them a danger. And we also can see in the Crow House versus Amersham Burial Board, where the defendant kept a poisonous tree which is completely non-natural to the land, which brought them a serious problem. In this case, keeping a wild cat is even more extremely dangerous, and it clearly fits the element, the second element, which is keeping non-natural use of land. The third element, where the thing has to do its mischief behavior when it escapes. Come on, it's exotic cat. We know exotic cats scratches, bites us, so it's of course dangerous and not safe for the defendant or anyone around them. This is similar to the Ang Hok Tai versus Tan Sam Lee case, where the defendant had kept the explosives such as petroleum, which caused fire and fatalities. This is also similar to the cat case, where the cat is already dangerous. It scratches, it bites, so it can cause harm. The fourth element, where there must be an escape from the land. In legal terms, escape means where the thing has moved from the defendant's property to outside the premises where it's outside the defendant's control. In our case, if the exotic cat has moved to the other premises where it can cause harm, it definitely can cause danger, it can cause torture, it will be a disturbance to the other people also. And this can be related to the lions versus rat case. In that case, where the court held no liability arises when there is no actual escape. So it is also same as in this case, where the cat, if it escapes, and then definitely there can be the defendant will be held liable, because if the cat escapes from the property, and then it will cause danger. The fifth element, where the damage can be foreseeable. In this case, we can ask, the damage can be foreseeable or not? Of course it can. We know the cat is going to cause damage when it scratches, it bites. It's an exotic wild cat for a reason. This can be related to the Cambridge Water Co versus Eastern Counties leather case, where the court ruled that the damage must be reasonably foreseeable and not too remote from the original case.
So what are defences that are available for this case? In strict liability, there are 4 types of defences. First, consent of the plaintiff. If a plaintiff consents to the dangerous thing being on their land, the defendant could not be liable for the action. Second, common benefit. If the dangerous thing is allowed to exist for benefits of both plaintiff and defendant, the defendant will not be liable even if it escapes and cause damage. Third, act of a third party. This defense can be applied when the dangerous thing escaped caused by a third party who is not acting under the defendant's instruction. It would not need to be a stranger, a family member or a friend could also be a third party. Lastly, the act of God. This defense applied when the act caused by natural event which are unforeseeable and occur without any human intervention. However, this defense is very limited as it very rare to happen. Consent of the plaintiff is what most likely can be applied in this case. In this case, if Peter and Cuddy assented to their neighbor's cat walking around their house, the neighbor is not liable for the cat's escape and damage caused. This is because they could have complained about the cat's presence, but they chose not to take any action. As a result, the Savannah cat finally enters their house and attacked their cat. Just like what happened in the case of Sheikh Amin bin Saleh and Chop Hapseng, the court found on the evidence that the plaintiff assented the use of defendant premise as a bakery with an oven therein, which later causes a fire. The court held that a person who consents to the dangerous thing being brought to a place from which it may cause him injury, if it escapes, has no right of action unless he can prove negligence.
A few benefits of applying liability in cases like this. First, it will ensure public safety by holding on a fully responsible even the harm was accidental. This will encourage extra cautions. Second, it simplifies legal process for victim. They don't need to prove negligence, just that harm that occur. Lastly, it acts as deterrent. Knowing the legal risk, people are less likely to keep dangerous pet in residential area. But there are also drawbacks. One, it may unfairly penalize responsible owner who actually took proper precaution. Two, it might discourage pet ownership or innovation, even in cases where exotic pets are well managed. Strike a balance, 3 steps can be taken. 1. Stricter enforcement of exotic pet laws. 2. Public awareness campaign on the risk. Third, the last one, mandatory insurance for exotic pet owners to ensure fair compensation for victims.
In conclusion, strict liability remains a vital doctrine in tort law, offering redress to victims even at the absence of fault. Courts often impose additional requirements such as non-natural use of land and foreseeability. And there are several defenses including natural acts of God, third-party intervention, statutory authority can also shield the defendants. Strict liability continues to serve as a powerful tool to ensure accountability in situations where negligence is hard to prove, but the harm suffered is real and significant. Its evolution, especially in jurisdictions like Malaysia, reflects an ongoing effort to adapt the traditional legal doctrines to modern societal and industrial challenges. That's all from us. Thank you.